Hello, everyone. Okay, let's keep it rolling. You still see how long it takes to get through these. So it's 40 minutes a session, no matter what I do. But I am getting involved in combat. That does slow things down, no matter how fast I try to take it. We did a little bit of old business real quick. I did remember I found a minor magic item. I don't know if you guys have saw my early sessions, but whenever I draw a treasure card, I do roll a d6. If I roll a 6, I'll make that a magic item. It's the only real easy way to get magic items, unless I actually just write one intentionally to give to myself. I try to make the value of the magic item something akin to the value of the coins, like copper coins. And it's not very valuable. It's the least valuable. So that's a common magic item. You know, I have this Game Master's book of astonishing random tables. I think I use this at character creation for my memento, which I never really use. But there's a list in here of common magic items that you can roll on a table. Let's do it. Let's roll on that table. Let's see. What page is that on? Common magic items. Common magic items. There it is. Page 189. Crazy thing, it is a D100 table, so they're not messing around when it comes to common magic items. We'll just have a little fun with it, though. Why not? Let's see. 2 to 10. All right. It's going to be about 15 on this table. 15, a leather-bound journal. Touching it causes thoughts to be transcribed on its pages. An unwilling creature can make a D13. Well, this guy's a DD, it's like a Dungeons and Dragons thing, doesn't matter. To prevent the effect. Touching it causes thoughts to be transcribed on the pages. Okay, I'll keep that. I mean, it's not very useful, but it's interesting. Sometimes I like just having an interesting thing is cool. I'm going to make note of it on some paper over here. I'll write it up, put it on my character sheet. Leather-bound journal. That records thoughts. If only I had that in real life, that would actually be really useful, because writing stuff down is a bummer. If I had a journal that just did it for me, that's actually the best magic item in the world. Maybe not for a hobgoblin knight, but I wish I had it. Okay, and then we're keeping the spyglass and a light hammer in case for future sales if I ever make it. Good enough. All right, moving on. So we're at this intersection right here. Izzek did just get done defeating some elves. A little easier than I thought, but then I forgot these elves have leather armor. One of them might have lived a little longer if I'd remember that they had leather armor on them, but I forgot. Because I think I killed one exactly at what he needed. He would have been alive with 2 hit points if I'd remembered they had leather armor, but I don't think it would have mattered. So, I was rolling too well. I hit every single round with every attack with above average damage. I'm not normally going to be plowing through them that quick. I was just rolling hot. So, Izzek's going to make his way down. He could go back up this corridor. He noticed they came in through this way, though. This corridor is still quiet. I don't know if there's any reason. He already passed it once. I don't think there's any reason for him to think about going back there yet, unless he thinks he's missing something, but I don't think right now he's thinking that way. So I think he's going to head straight down to here, to this little rectangular room. I have level number 6. That too is another fixed waypoint, which I have written. Let's see, what is this room? Not one of the quest rooms that I have to receive, but just a random written room, a waypoint. Here it is, the pillaged mausoleum. Once this large mausoleum was a room of grandeur and significance. Now the marble floor is covered in dirt. Elegant glass statues once lined the eaves lay broken in shards on the floor. Over 100 elven nobility were once entombed here, but the doors to the resting places are opened and their bones and treasures removed. Yet high up and out of reach, some vaults remain sealed. So when Izzek finally gets to this room, much surprised he's finally out of these earthen tunnels. This is an old, beautiful room. This tunnel almost kind of like breaches into the wall. Hard to say, it's been so long. This room is so covered in dirt and oldness, but he's definitely entered more of a different stage of this undercroft, if you will. No longer earthen tunnels, but more of old, worn stones. This room, as I said, was once beautiful. Let's see. I've already described what's in this room. The walls are lined with, like I said, mausoleum rooms, little places where caskets would have been entombed. They're all open. The doors are all flung open. Everything's pillaged. The ground is covered in dirt, bits of bone fragment, bits of clothing, just scraps. This place has been looted and pillaged. But high up on the walls, and these walls stretch up very high, there are some tombs that are still sealed. Well, we're here. We might as well check it out. Izzek's kind of curious as to what this room is all about. He's going to once again maybe make a spot hidden just to see if there's any traps in this room. 5. Are there any traps in this room? I'm going to ask the Oracle this question. At least on the floor where Izzek can reach it. Let's just do a yes/no on this one. Are there any traps in this room that Izzek might have detected? The answer is a 4. I think that's actually a yes. Yes. So I'm going to say right across here a band. Because of Izzek's crafty spots hidden, kind of about 2/3 of the way down this chamber, there is a discoloration on the floor where the dirt is kind of cleared off. It does appear to be a pressure plate on the ground here. I think Izzek's going to try to disarm it. That is going to require a sleight of hand, a skill that Izzek is not great at. And it's a skill that Izzek is probably rarely ever even used. Let's get tricky here and do it. Sleight of hand. Let's see. He investigates this plate to see if there's a way to disarm it. Maybe he can jam a piece of metal, piece of wood under it to keep it from skinking down. I think that's what we're going to try to do since the doors of this mausoleum, these stone things have all been cracked. He's going to grab a shard and try to, slam it underneath the pressure plate to disarm the pressure plate so he can pass by. That's going to require a sleight hand roll. Izzek absolutely fails to do so with that. As he tries to hit that pressure plate and disarm that trap, he tries to lift up the plate just enough to jam something underneath it. And as he lifts up the plate, unfortunately, it still triggers the trap. Let's roll on the trap. I think Izzek's kind of on the ground, laying fairly prone. So depending on the nature of the trap, he might be able to evade it with a boon. But we'll see what kind of trap it is first. An 8. An entangling snare. So, as Izzek lifts that pressure plate up in an attempt to put something underneath it, lifting it up triggers the trap just as well as pressing it down. And as I said, this dirt is covered in, the floor covers this dirt. Little did he know there's a fine mesh at this area under the thing. And a net wraps up and lifts Izzek off the floor and yanks him up to the side over here and up towards the ceiling. I think this is going to be more of a moderate trap. Trap damage does different amounts. There's a damage page on page 5 that I rarely use. I think an ensnaring trap is not going to be high in damage. So it says here you can just make it moderate, 2d6. I think as this ensnaring trap pulls Izzek over to the side and yanks him up off the ground, he gets slammed against the wall. I'm just going to make this a 2d6 damage roll here. 7. Well, his armor, that could have been close. His armor prevents him from taking damage. But he's hoisted kind of high in the air. Well, Izzek's not without his ways of getting out of this thing here, so he's still got his sword to his side. I'm going to try to make an agility roll. I don't know how ensnared he is by this trap. He can't move, but as far as getting down, but can he still draw his sword? I think I'm going to make an agility roll. Oh, unfortunately, I am out of Bane on my agility roll because I'm dazed. Uh-oh. I'm going to try to make a Bane on my agility roll, see if I can draw my sword. No, I would have succeeded if it wasn't for the Bane. But Izzek can't draw his sword. He can't try to... He can barely try to reach it, but he's having trouble. I don't know if a Bane is worth me pushing my luck on it. Probably not. So he tries to grasp his sword, but it's just... He can't quite get around on it to do it. His arms are still in front of him. Not like he's bound. Especially he got pulled to the side. How old is this mesh chain? Can he break it? Maybe, this has got to be an ancient trap. How strong is this, wire mesh rope, whatever it is that's holding him around? I think he's just going to try to get his hands together and try to pull it off. Maybe it's rotten enough that he can just pull it apart. I'm going to try a strength roll. Maybe I will make it at a Bane, though. He is in a very weird, awkward position. He has no way to leverage himself. That's a demon. That's a Bane. I think as he tries to hurt him, pull a car apart, I want to push it. Never mind. I'm going to push that roll. I'm going to take a disheartened action. I'm going to try that and push it. I don't want to take that demon roll. Let's try it again. I still fail at an 18, but at least I'm not going to take any adverse things. Okay, he tries to pull the mesh in front of him and pull it apart, but it's still strong enough to hold him. He can't reach his sword and cut himself free. I'm starting to run out of tricky options here for myself. Let's see. What other things can Izzek do? Tell you what, I'm going to ask the Oracle. I like this yes-no Oracle. I think it's kind of good I'm finally rolling the Oracle tables a little bit more. Even though I'm kind of running into a little bit of trouble here being trapped in this mesh trap. Let's just do another yes-no. Is there a tool nearby that I can reach that can help free me of this trap? There better be. 6, an extreme yes. Okay, good. So what kind of tool could be nearby that could help me escape this trap? Well, as I said, it kind of got pulled to the side, hoisted up in the air. A lot of these tombs that were built into the wall, their doors are hanging open. A lot of them have crashed on the floor. Next to him on this trap, he's kind of up against the wall next to some of these open mausoleums. I'm going to say that there's one of these stone doors that are open and fallen the hinges, rusted hinges, are up against this net that are sharp and ragged. I think Izzek's going to start swinging back and forth, catching this net on these hinges to see if he can't shred this net with this sharp hinge hanging off this door. That's an extreme yes. So I'm not going to grant myself a Bane. I think with an extreme yes. I think it's exactly what he needs. But I do need to think about what I can use to help do that. Not acrobatics. Maybe acrobatics? No, I don't know. Maybe evade. Hunting, Smith and Legend. If there's a skill that I could use. Is this more just of maybe another strength test as he pushes himself back and forth? I think that's maybe the case. I think I'm just going to go with another strength. I think he's just going to push himself back and forth on this thing and rub up against that sharp-edged metal hinge to see if he can cut his way through this net. 3. Okay. It takes him some time. So I've already triggered my trap, but maybe I will do this again. Maybe now that I'm in this dungeon and I may run into more elves, maybe I'll, instead of getting rid of my threat counter completely, I will reset it to a 1, raise it to a 2 due to the failures and the being caught in this trap. Who knows? That way it gives me a chance to fight more elves. I like that idea. Either way, Izzek does manage to cut himself through. I think Izzek is going to try to, however, as a hole gets cut in this net from this hinge, this sharp-edged hinge hanging on the side of the door, he slowly frees himself. I think I'm going to try to still hang off this net a little bit and kind of use it to stay up here against the edge of this wall. Are there any sealed mausoleum doors untouched? If Izzek's able to hold on, is there a sealed mausoleum door that he might be able to brace and open? Let's ask that oracle. 5, that's a yes. So there is a sealed mausoleum door near his grasp that he might be able to actually open. Now that Izzek's cut his way free from the net, he's just kind of hanging from it. He grabs his sword to free his sword. I think I will use maybe another agility roll. Boy, I got a bane at that agility though. I do not like. Maybe I will try an acrobatics roll to see if I can maneuver a little bit to open up this sealed tomb. I'm not gonna. It is an agility skill. You know, that gives you a bane on all your agility skills, right? When you take a bane on a condition, all skills are affected by that condition. Well, nevertheless, we'll try it. I think it would take an acrobatics for him to be able to hinge here from it. Well, with that bane, he's not going to be able to do it. So he tries to maneuver in the net and move himself over there to see if he can open that tomb. But it's not opening easily enough. He's just not agile enough at the moment to do it. Well, can he... What other kind of things could he do? Can he prop himself up? Maybe there are eaves to this top of this thing. Can he climb up to the eaves, perhaps? You know, to the top of this mausoleum, almost close to the ceiling, and make his way that direction? Yeah, I say we try it. I think Izzek can try to climb. I'm still in acrobatics. Yeah, it's going to be a bane again. I'm going to have to get rid of this dazed condition, I think, in order to kind of take care of this situation. 2 17s. Yeah, he's not able to do anything acrobatic with his current state of a condition on his agility skill. He's going to give up. He's going to drop to the floor. Well, he avoided the net. I guess at this point, even though there may be, who knows, there could be treasure in here, but he's not able to kind of negotiate a way to climb up there and get to it. But he did free himself of the trap that he got stuck with. I wonder if there's anything else that remains. He comes back over here to the side. It is strange they're all pillaged. This is the elves' place, right? Why would the elves let their mausoleum be pillaged? I mean, he just ran to some. Isn't this where there... there were hundreds, easily 100 crypts in this place, lined up against the wall. This was once a very fancy, ornate, well-made room. How would they let this place become in such disarray? I guess maybe he'll I don't know. I guess there's nothing else in this room. I think he evaded the trap. Good enough. He's not able to get the loot. He's failed all his agility checks. They're all high up in the air. With his Bane and in a dazed status right now, he can't even really make any agility checks to climb up there. Although he does have his memento. Speaking of common magic items, way back when, you can roll to have a memento item for your character when you create your character. For those who probably never tuned into Chapter 0, which I don't blame you, a lot of rambling talk from me on the Session 0s. Best to let that stuff slide. But, you talk about rolling up your memento. It's one of the things I did over here. It's a tiny item, but once per gaming session, you can use it in your addition to recover an additional condition during a stretch rest. I took a hint from Geek Gamers, who said that you should always. It's not a bad idea to make yourself a special artifact to help define your character, and so I rolled a common magic item for it, which actually gives me a boon on climbing. So I haven't been using it too much, but I haven't been doing a lot of climbing. But I haven't been using it. I'm going to try again. I'm going to try to climb up, to one of the mausoleums. I'm not going to be, since I have a boon using my memento that I can use once a day. I got a Bane. I'm going to try just a normal agility roll. That's a dragon. Okay, that's a success. I guess I'm saying it's going to be another acrobatics roll, but at least it was not going to be at a Bane. I did succeed on climbing up there. He climbs up on the opposite wall over here and managed to shimmy his way up. There's enough broken, open mausoleum that he can just kind of step up to the front of it, just kind of climb his way up without surprisingly too much difficulty. He's going to try to open one of these remaining sealed mausoleum tombs. I think that's going to take a strength roll. I think they're just latched. They're not, I don't think they'd be locked. Well, they could be locked and sealed. All right, I'll ask the Oracle. I'll give myself a bit of adjustment on this Oracle, though. I'm going to say it's unlikely it's locked, especially this high up. It's not quite that way. So I think I'm going to ask, is it locked? I think I'm going to do a 2, 3, 4 for no. 5, 6 for yes. 2. Okay, so it's not locked. He's just got to make a strength roll to see if he can open it up. It's been sealed for a very long time. That's another dragon. That's a strength roll, though. You don't get boons for strength rolls. There's no general strength test skill. I don't think that would be appropriate unless I wanted to try something like sleight of hand. I don't think that's necessary for this. This is just a straight up strength roll to open the store. He cranks open the mausoleum, looks inside. Sure enough, there's a skeleton inside, preserved, I guess, probably from the seal that has been in there. It's dressed in ornate robes. He's kind of still perched next to it on an empty thing. He doesn't have a lot of maneuverability here, but he's going to look inside, at least see if there's any treasure. Let's see if there's a spot hidden. Maybe there's some jewelry, something he can grab. Spot hidden's a 14. He failed. It is indeed, like I said, he's in ornate robes. It's a skeleton. I guess, how can he tell it's elvish or not? He can't tell or anything. It's intact. Otherwise, you know, he just, as far as he can tell, it's just in plain robes. I guess there's nothing else for him to see. We'll let that failure go as a failure. Gave me another chance to use some skills and check some things out. Okay, let's move on. Let's get out of this room. We're moving on. He drops down. It was exactly what it is, just a crypt. Not entirely sure, like I said, why most all of them were pillaged. Who knows? He makes his way up. These are stairs going up, by the way. So he moves up these stairs going up. He stops and listens. These are stone stairs. So he's entered a more official part of this place. He'll make an awareness check just to see if he hears any noises. 14. He doesn't hear anything. He climbs up these stairs, enters this room right here. This is just an unknown oracle room. Let's check it out. Let's roll our contents and see what's in this room. Okay. Let's look at this roll in the location subtables. We already know kind of what it is here. I'm not worried about inhabitants. We'll maybe roll on our other tables if inhabitants occur, but I'm not too worried about it yet. D4 for contents in this room. 2. There's 2 location details in this room. 1 is an oddity. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm throwing this dice all over this place. 1 is a danger. Okay, we got a danger and an oddity in here. Let's see what the oddity is. The oddity is a 9. A hovering sphere. Okay. A danger is a 15. An inhabited lair. Well, I guess there is indeed going to be an inhabitant in this room. Let's roll on the inhabitants. We're going to actually use the original one rather than the one I wrote because this is a subterranean world. I think we finally hit something at least vaguely appropriate. It kind of depends on what I roll. I mean, there's not going to be any goblins. We may already know what kind of inhabitants are in this room. But maybe I don't like any of these inhabitants. Maybe spiders, maybe ghosts. Maybe vampiric bats. I don't like these. What's the one that I rolled on, that I created for myself? Let's take a look at that one. I'm not super thrilled with what that is, could be on this inhabited lair. I didn't change a whole lot, just a few little things. I don't like these either. This is an inhabited lair. This place hasn't been open in a long time. There's only one thing that's really going to be inhabiting this room, and let's be honest here. Unless there's some sort of guardian. Otherwise, I'll have to find a little something to think up to come in here. I think maybe yeah, I think we are best to stick. Let me ponder this for a second. Maybe I can come up with something off the top of my head. I can roll on the D20 table out of curiosity. 14. Oh, vampire bats. You know, that's going to be okay. I can do vampire bats. Let's do it. I've told you before I like fighting vampire bats. And it's kind of fitting. I'm kind of in the mausoleum section of this place, and it is largely still abandoned down here at these lower levels. Okay, well, sometimes the dice, I shouldn't have hesitated. I should have just rolled on the inhabitants table to begin with, because it gave me exactly what I needed. Thank you, Mr. Oracle. Okay, we'll go with vampire bats. This is in the main rule book, by the way. I fought them early on in chapter 2, and in a way they're kind of the perfect critter for Sir Izzek, because they have a lot of fear attacks for which Izzek can resist. There they are, vampire bats. I can't believe I'm getting yet another combat though. Oh lordy. Okay, let's do it. So yeah, vampire bats are in these chambers. Maybe Izzek can sneak past them. It seems unlikely. Does he notice as he comes in this room? He's being careful. I want to roll spot hidden to see if he sees these vampiric bats in the eaves of this place. Gosh, he just failed that spot hidden. So he did not see these vampire bats up in here. I'm pretty certain I have 10 spot hidden, right? 10 spot hidden. So he just failed that spot hidden. So he did not see these vampire bats up in the eaves of this place. It's dark. It's pitch black in this room. So he shines his light around. He does see that odd sphere in the center of the room. The sphere is spinning slowly around, but very slowly, and it isn't really lit. It is just sort of hovering there in the middle of the air, slowly rotating, and that's where he kind of caught his attention and fixed his lights. He didn't really pay attention to anything else, and did not notice the spot hidden. But suddenly, from the rafters, some ominous chirps as the lights wake up the creatures above, and we will roll for initiative, or I should say draw for initiative, just like that. Okay, combat it is. Oh my goodness. All right. Still fitting. I think it worked out just fine. Let's see. Okay, vampiric bats. All right, just so you know, for those of you who may not have the manual, they are ferocity 2. They're a swarm. They have 18 hit points. They're not very tough, but they count as a single creature. All damage from physical weapons are reduced by half, so that makes it much more dramatic. 1 and 2, they have a swirling horror attack. Everyone within 10 meters must make a fear attack. They have a collective attack. They do 2d8 slashing damage and suffers a fear attack. And the vampire bat heals the same amount of hit points that they do for damage. And then they have a mass attack. Each victim suffers a d8 slashing damage and the same amount of hit points to replenish them, but they affect everybody in the room, which in this case is just Izzek. It's not too bad for Izzek being a single person, so it shouldn't be too bad to mess with here. Okay. But there are ferocity 2. Should I roll? Should I put on some improvised weapons in here just for fun? These days, now that Izzek has a very nice sword and does a considerable amount of damage, I don't use improvised weapons like I did when I first started out in the game, where I used them a lot because, they did more damage than my short sword that I started the game with. And frequently did at least the same, if not more, than the broadsword I wielded most of this game. But they can have some pretty interesting effects, so let's do it. These bats do take 5 normal fire damage. Even though I said this room was dark, I guess we can retcon that if I draw some torches. I've always wondered in dungeons, when there's no one in them or whatever, they're just run by undead, who keeps all the torches lit? Sometimes you always run these dungeons, they all have torches on the wall, and they're just abandoned places. I'm like, who keeps all the torches lit? A torch. See what I say? And a stalactite. Okay, so here's a torch and a stalactite here in this room that Izzek might be able to use. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna make it make sense anyway. I'm gonna draw 2 initiative cards. Bats are going to draw 2 initiative cards. I go first and I go last. Do I want to swap an initiative to maybe evade? I don't think so. I did heal up after my last battle, so I do have 3 points of damage. I have 11 hit points. I can't parry any of these attacks. Maybe I will play it safe. Maybe I will give a 3 to one of these bats. I'll take a 5. I'll let the bats go first. Yeah, what the heck. Okay, these bats come sweeping off the ceiling. Fresh blood, something they have not had in who knows how long since they've had fresh blood. These bats are emancipated. Yeah, not emancipated, that's a whole different thing. Emaciated and hungry. They dive at him. D6. Four. This is their best attack where they have a chance to do damage to me. They do 2d6 and heal themselves if need be. 10. Yikes. 3 points of damage. Well, they're not hurt, so they don't heal themselves. But I don't like the idea. I'm going to try to... I will try to evade that attack. I know I got a Bane. Actually, I got a double Bane because I'm dazed with my agility. I guess I can't. I'm not really going to try to dodge it. I guess that was kind of pointless. I guess I'll just take 10 points. I think Bane's kind of snack. I need to rest and get rid of this this dazed condition. I made a big mistake. I should have made myself angry or something. I had an intelligence. I was foolish in giving myself a dazed condition. All right, so they do 3 points of damage to me. Yikes! I get to go. I think Izzek is going to grab that torch off the wall. In order to do that, he's going to have to drop his shield, which is fine. He drops his shield, grabs the torch in a rather surprisingly elegant maneuver. Right? So there's a torch on the wall. It's not lit, but in a rather elegant maneuver, he hits his oil lamp with the torch in a surprising way. Oil spills from that lamp, lights the torch in one move. Heroism. That's how we get this torch lit. And he tries to nail these bats with this torch for 2d6 fire damage. Plus, it does an additional d4 bludgeoning damage as a light weapon. I think so. It's considered like a club. Maybe a club does a d6, right? A light club. Oh yeah, it's even a light, heavy, blunt object still does a d8 bonus. Bludgeoning. Okay. He's gonna smack him with this torch, so it does 2d6 plus damage bonus. Does that mean strength bonus? You know, I think that probably would make more sense. I think it does 2d6 plus his strength bonus and damage. That's probably what it's trying to say. These bats can try to dodge this attack. They're swarming all. It hits automatically. Attack can be dodged or parried. You know, that's a lot of damage for them to take. I think they're going to dodge this attack. They're going to make a 15 target to dodge. They successfully dodge that attack. Boo! Hiss! Boo! Okay, well, I still get to go. That was it for the torch. Okay. I guess Izzek will swing that now burnt out torch at these bats. They flee from this fire, and I'm going to use the stalagmite. What the heck? This does 2d6 damage. Truth be told, my longsword does more than that, though, right? Yeah. Okay, you're right. My longsword does better. I'm just going to swing. 15, I miss. New round. I won't use the stalagmite. My sword does more damage. Wow. That was not a great round for me. Okay. 6, 5, 6, 8, 4, 1. These bats are all going first. Okay. Do your worst, bats. D6 attack. 5. That's the attack that just does a D8 and a fear attack. Yeah, I think it's a fear attack and a blood attack. Take a look, right? All characters. Each of them suffers a D8 slashing damage. Oh no, it's not a fear attack. It's just a slashing one. Oh, I forgot though. I will spend 2 willpower to avoid that fear attack from last round. Just as an FYI, I forgot to mark that down on here. Okay, this doesn't do fear. This just does a D8. This is really the best thing they can try to hit me with. They can do a D8 and heal. 6. Armor does penetrate. Does not penetrate. Boom. They're gonna roll it again. 3. Actually, that's the 2d8 attack, which I don't want them to roll. I prefer if they did not do this 2d8 attack. 5, 7, 12. Wow, that's another 5 points of damage. This could be bad. 5, 3. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Wow, this could be very, very bad. That's a lot of damage. The 2d8? Oh, it's 2d6, not 2d8. Oh, hold on. Hold on, I overrolled that. Let's go back. No 5 points of damage. It's 2 to 6. Okay, hold on. Phew. That's a whole different deal between 2d8 and 2d6. That's a whole different world. 8. He takes 1 point of damage instead of 5. Okay, much better. Bats are done. Okay, well, they're not dodging me this attacks. I'm going to attack. Hit. I'm the one that does 2d8 plus a d4. 6, and 4 more is 10. I'm going to go for a second attack. 8. 3, 13, 19. That will kill these bats right there. They didn't have any ability to dodge. They didn't save an action. They went for it. Okay, bats are dead. But I've taken yet some more damage. But bats are gone. Yikes. Okay. All right. So, what are we going to do with this sphere in the center of the room? It's an oddity. Let's see, how big is this sphere? I think I've got more oracles here for size, right? Scale. How big is this sphere? I'm going to look on the scale chart. Let's see how big it is. I'm kind of curious. Hovering sphere, D6. 1. It's small. This is a very small sphere. It's in the middle of the room. It's on a stand. It's on a pedestal, but it's hovering and spinning above this pedestal. Like I said, it's all grayed out. As it kind of approaches it, it looks very similar to the strange sphere that he used to open the door that he found in the manor house. Same size, same sort of design, covered kind of in elven ruins. It's the same type of thing, but just hovering in this pedestal. I think Izzek's going to search for traps. He's going to do their spot hidden. just to make sure there's no, whether this thing is trapped or not. He succeeds. Well, is it trapped? I guess I better see. Is it trapped? I'm going to use the oracle table again. D6. That's a 2. It's not trapped. And Izzek doesn't spawn any traps. Izzek looks to see if there's anything else. Any buttons on this pedestal? Any indication? Any writing? Anything else to see here? Maybe we'll roll again on the oracles tonight. We're really going for it. Where is, how much time I dig around these crazy solar tools? Let's look on the inspiration table. I'm kind of curious. Let's roll on the attribute table. That's a D20. I'm kind of curious. It gives me any ideas as to what the sphere is going to be good for. That's a dragon. Okay. The attribute is ancient. Okay. Got that. Roger. It's an ancient sphere. Let's roll on the thing table. 17. Resource. It's an ancient resource. Okay. You know what? Izzek's going to take it. Why not? It doesn't appear to be trapped. There's nothing else around in this room that he can tell. He's not found a purpose for it. He reaches out and grabs the sphere. Pop. It's in his hand. It's another one of those kind of puzzle boxes. Just like that last sphere was. He was able to open that last one and figure it out. This is a similar sort of thing as that elf bartender told him. These are kind of common elf devices. They are all puzzle devices that usually open up to reveal something. This is a ancient resource of some sort. I think Izzek's going to try to figure out how to open up this thing. I think last time, I'm trying to remember what it took last time too. I think it took, what did I roll last time to open the thing? I think it was spot hidden. I think I had to kind of spot check and see if there were any knobs that I could touch. I'm going to try to do the same thing. See if I can spot any buttons that could impress as I play with it. 8. Yes. So Izzek kind of softly cradles the ball, turns it over in his hand, feel a touch. Because he's done this before now, with that previous one, he's kind of got a sense for it. He feels the buttons. There are buttons here to open it up. He thinks he knows how to open this device up. But I'm going to save that. He's going to save that resource. I'll keep it for when I think I might need it. I'm going to add this to my character sheet. Ancient resource sphere. At the moment, I don't know what it does. I'll have to ponder it. Okay. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I just remembered something. Wait a minute. These vampire bats take half damage from normal weapons. They're not dead. I did 20 points of damage. They have 8 hit points left. I hate when I forget things. Well, I'm not re-rolling all those really good oracle rolls I just did. Small ancient resources, like perfect. Sometimes the oracle dice gets you exactly, what you need. I don't want to have to rethink all that again. That's great. I tell you what we'll say is, we'll say those bats, after losing half their numbers, they retreated up into the rafters. Yeah, they're hanging up there and retreating long enough for Izzek to be able to grab that orb and get that done. What I'll do is I'll roll a morale. Let's roll a morale for them. They've lost half their numbers, but they are starving. These vampire bats do not get fed very often. So how about we'll do this? How about I roll a morale? We'll just do a 50-50. 1, 2, 3. they stay up in the rafters, safe. 4, 5, 6, they come down for round 2. 1, 2, 3. Okay. They stay up in the rafters long enough, at least, for Izzek to hightail it out of this room, which he does. Now that I realize they're up in the rafters, he's not going to spend any time in here. He's out of here. He's out of 5,000. All right. Yeah, we'll wrap it up here for now, and we'll continue on the next video. Thanks.